You wake up every morning with the same weight on your chest. It's that invisible pressure that whispers, "You should be further ahead by now. You should be stronger, richer, happier, more successful." You roll out of bed and try to shake it off, but deep down, you know it's true, you feel stuck. You're not where you want to be, and the terrifying thought is that you might never get there. That's why this message matters. If you ignore it, if you brush it off like the thousands of other motivational speeches you've half listened to, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. And cycles don't break on their own. They tighten, they choke, they bury you alive. Most people never escape. They keep promising themselves they'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and next year becomes a decade gone. The truth is brutal. If you don't interrupt the cycle now, you'll stay stuck forever. Not because you weren't capable, but because you refused to face the discomfort of change. Look around at your life. Think about how many times you've told yourself, "I'll do it later." Later never comes. You've wasted hours scrolling, comparing, daydreaming about what could be. But here's the harsh reality. While you're dreaming, someone else is doing. While you're wishing, someone else is working. While you're procrastinating, someone else is building the life you secretly crave. And the worst part? They don't have more talent than you. They don't have more intelligence, more resources, or better luck. The only thing they have is discipline. They're willing to do what you keep avoiding. Discipline is the dividing line between the stuck and the unstoppable. It's not glamorous. It's not easy, but it's the only currency success accepts. You want freedom? You want power? You want to wake up one day and feel proud instead of ashamed? Then you have to buy it with discipline. And if you're unwilling to pay, the cost is your future. Let me put it plainly. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your friends, not some magical opportunity that falls into your lap. You're waiting for permission, but permission will never come. Life doesn't hand out passes, it hands out consequences. And if you keep waiting, you'll pay with regret. Think about regret for a moment. It's not loud. It's quiet. Creeps in slowly, one compromise at a time. You skip the workout. You waste the evening. You avoid the hard conversation. And you tell yourself it doesn't matter. But 5 years later, you wake up and your body is weak. Your relationships are fragile. Your dreams are dust. And you realize the small choices mattered more than anything. Regret is the interest you pay on comfort. And comfort is killing you. Here's the contrast you need to understand. Comfort feels good now but costs you everything later. Discipline feels painful now but gives you everything later. You're always paying a price. The only question is whether you pay it up front with discipline or on the back end with regret. That's the trade you can't escape. Right now, you're stuck because you're addicted to the easy path. Every time life gives you two doors, pain or comfort, you've been choosing comfort. And comfort has been stealing your destiny. It's stolen years from you already, hasn't it? Think back. How many times did you talk yourself out of chasing something because it felt too risky? How many chances did you waste because you didn't feel ready? How many times did you let fear win? Every single one of those moments was a robbery, and the thief was you. But here's the good news. The same you that created this prison can also break out of it. Change doesn't start tomorrow. Change starts the second you stop lying to yourself. The moment you admit, "I'm not stuck because of the world, I'm stuck because of me," that's when freedom begins. Because if you're the problem, you're also the solution. So, let's talk about what it takes to get unstuck. First, you need to destroy the story you keep telling yourself. The story that says, "I'll start when I feel ready. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when the timing is perfect." That story is poison. Nobody ever feels ready. Nobody ever has perfect timing. The successful don't wait for conditions to line up. They move, and they adjust along the way. If you don't rewrite your story, you'll relive your excuses forever. Second, you need to get brutally honest about your habits. Your life is the sum of what you do daily. Not what you intend to do, not what you dream about, but what you actually execute. You can't wish your way to success. You can't visualize your way to freedom. You can't journal your way to discipline. You have to act. Right now, your habits are the prison guards keeping you stuck. Every scroll, every snooze button, every skipped step reinforces your cage. You want out? Then break the pattern. Do the opposite of what you feel like doing. Feel lazy? Move. Feel scared? Speak. Feel unmotivated? Act anyway. Third, you must fall in love with discomfort. Stop running from it. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the doorway to growth. Every great thing in life hides behind the wall of discomfort. Stronger body? Discomfort. Better relationships? Discomfort. More money? Discomfort. Greater peace of mind? Discomfort. If you can't embrace it, you can't have it. It's that simple. And here's the final piece. You have to see time for what it really is. You think you have plenty. You think you can afford to waste today because you'll get another chance tomorrow. But tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow is a seductive illusion that keeps you chained to inaction. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. The only time you have is now. If you don't act now, you're gambling with your entire life. So here's the challenge. Will you keep playing small? Or will you finally wake up and face the truth? You are not stuck because you're incapable. You're stuck because you're comfortable. And the comfort is suffocating you. The clock is ticking. Every second you hesitate, the walls close in tighter. But if you decide, really decide to act, everything changes. Not in a year, not in a month, not in a week. The moment you choose discomfort over ease, you step onto the path of freedom. The path won't be easy. It will be painful, lonely, full of setbacks. But so what? You've already felt the pain of staying stuck. You've already lived the loneliness of regret. You've already endured the frustration of wasted time. Isn't it better to trade that for the pain that leads somewhere? Isn't it better to suffer now so you can shine later? This is your wake-up call. This is the line in the sand. If you ignore it, nothing changes. You'll wake up tomorrow with the same pressure, the same excuses, the same cycle. But if you embrace it, if you stop waiting, if you take the first step today, you'll look back one day and realize this was the moment that saved your life. Because if you don't watch this, if you don't act on this, you'll stay stuck forever. You've heard people say, change your thoughts and you'll change your life. Sounds good, but it's not enough. You can think positive thoughts all day and still end up broke, overweight, uninspired, and stuck. Why? Because thinking without action is just daydreaming. The truth is your life doesn't change because you hope it will. It changes because you decide it must. That decision doesn't live in your head. It lives in your actions. Right now, your actions are telling the truth about you. Forget what you say you want. Forget the dreams you talk about when you're motivated. Your habits reveal your reality. You can't hide from them. If you say you want health but you eat garbage every day, your habits are the truth. If you say you want success but you waste hours scrolling and binge-watching, your habits are the truth. If you say you want love but you keep settling for toxic relationships, your habits are the truth. Habits don't lie, and until you face them, you'll stay stuck. Here's what most people do. They wait for motivation to strike before they act. They think they need to feel inspired before they move. But motivation is a terrible master. It's unreliable, it's inconsistent, and it fades the moment life gets uncomfortable. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when you don't feel like it. Discipline is what pushes you through the workout when you'd rather quit. Discipline is what makes you show up day after day, long after the excitement wears off. If you're waiting to feel motivated, you'll wait forever. Think about every person you admire, every hero, every champion. Do you think they were motivated every single day? Of course not. They were disciplined. That's the difference between average and extraordinary. Average people rely on moods. Extraordinary people rely on discipline. And if you want to escape being stuck, you must cross that line. But discipline doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in challenge. That's why so many people stay trapped. They avoid challenge at all costs. They think challenge is punishment, when really it's preparation. Every time you resist comfort and choose the hard thing, you're building the muscles that free you. Every time you push past fear, you're proving to yourself that you can't be broken. That's how you change, not by wishing, but by working. Now, let's address the excuses, because excuses are the bars of your cage. You say you don't have time. That's a lie. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference is how you spend them. You say you don't have resources. That's a lie. You have access to the internet, books, mentors, communities. You're drowning in resources. You say you're not ready. That's a lie. Nobody ever feels ready. Readiness comes from action, not before it. Every excuse you use is a chain around your ankle, and the only way to break free is to stop believing your own lies. But I know what you're thinking. What if I try and fail? That fear is the biggest thief of all. Keeps millions of people locked in mediocrity. They'd rather stay stuck in a familiar hell than risk stepping into an unfamiliar future. But here's the truth. Failure is not the enemy. Failure is proof you're in the game. Failure is feedback. Failure is progress in disguise. The only real failure is refusing to try. If you never take the shot, you've already lost. Let's flip the perspective. What if you succeed? What if you finally stop playing small and step into your potential? What if you stop doubting yourself and start betting on yourself? Imagine waking up a year from now, stronger, sharper, more confident, with doors opening that you never thought possible. That future exists, but only if you act. And every day you hesitate, you push it further away. You're not stuck because the world is against you. You're stuck because you keep choosing the easy way out. Every time you avoid discomfort, you strengthen the chains holding you back. But if you want freedom, if you want transformation, you have to choose differently. You have to choose the pain that leads to power instead of the pleasure that leads to regret. Here's how transformation really works. First, you decide. Second, you act. Third, you repeat. That's it. It's not about perfection. It's not about feeling like it. It's about doing it anyway. The most dangerous word in your vocabulary is later. Later is the dream killer. Later is the thief of greatness. Later has already stolen too much from you. How many times have you said later and lost months, even years? Enough is enough. Later ends now. Let's talk about identity, because this is the root of being stuck. You see yourself as lazy, or unlucky, or broken. And because that's how you see yourself, you act accordingly. But identity is not fixed, it's chosen. You can decide today who you want to be. If you want to be disciplined, start acting disciplined. If you want to be strong, start acting strong. If you want to be free, start acting free. You don't wait to feel it. You act and the feelings follow. Identity is built from the ground up, brick by brick, action by action. And let me tell you something powerful. The moment you stop betraying yourself, your life will change. Every time you make a promise to yourself and break it, you weaken your self-respect. You tell your subconscious, I can't be trusted, and that belief poisons everything. But every time you follow through, even on the smallest promises, you rebuild trust. You prove to yourself that your word matters. Self-respect is the foundation of success. Without it, you'll always sabotage yourself. With it, you'll become unstoppable. So here's your challenge right now. Keep one promise to yourself today. Just one. It doesn't have to be massive. Could be finishing the workout, writing the page, making the call, keeping the schedule. Do it and then do it again tomorrow. Each promise is a brick. Lay enough bricks, and you'll build a fortress of discipline that no excuse can tear down. Remember this: the chains that keep you stuck are invisible. They're made of habits, excuses, lies, and comfort. But chains can be broken. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions. You don't need to wait for motivation. Everything you need to change is already inside you. All that's missing is the decision to start. And when you start, the world will test you. Life will push back. You'll face resistance. You'll face failure. You'll face doubt. But don't let that scare you. Let it sharpen you. Resistance is not a stop sign. It's a signal you're moving in the right direction. The path to freedom is always uphill. That's why so few take it. But if you do, you'll separate yourself from the masses. You'll rise above the average. You'll finally become the person you were meant to be. Because the truth is this: you're not stuck forever. You're only stuck until you decide you're not. Most people don't realize they are living inside a prison they built themselves. The walls aren't made of concrete. They're made of patterns. Every morning, the same routine. Every thought, recycled from yesterday. Every choice, safe and familiar. That's how people end up trapped in cycles that last years, even decades. They don't even see the prison anymore because it feels like home. But comfort is the most dangerous home you can live in. Comfort whispers, "Stay here, you're fine." Comfort tells you, "You've done enough." Comfort convinces you that growth is optional, when in reality, growth is survival. Without growth, you're slowly dying even if you're still breathing. Think back to when you were a child. You dreamed big. You believed anything was possible. Somewhere along the way, life convinced you to shrink. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good enough. Maybe failure stung so badly you decided not to try again. Maybe you compared yourself to others and decided to play it safe. And little by little, you stopped risking, stopped dreaming, stopped pushing. You settled for less, but deep down you knew you were meant for more. That inner voice never completely goes away. That's why you feel restless. That's why you feel stuck. Because a part of you remembers who you could be, and it won't stop haunting you until you listen. The stuck life is built on compromise. You compromise your health for temporary pleasure. You compromise your goals for short-term distractions. You compromise your potential for fear of rejection. And compromise feels easier in the moment, but it steals from your future. Every compromise takes a piece of the life you could have lived. Imagine where you'd be right now if you had refused to compromise over the last 5 years. Imagine the progress, the strength, the opportunities you'd have created. That vision should hurt, not to break you, but to wake you up. Because if you keep compromising, you'll end up living a life that's a fraction of what it could have been. Let's expose the lie that holds people stuck more than anything else. The belief that they have time. You tell yourself, "I'll start next week. I'll get serious when things calm down. I'll chase my dream when the timing is right." But weeks turn into months, months into years, and suddenly a decade is gone. And the worst part? You don't notice it slipping away until it's too late. Time is the one resource you can never get back. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can reappear. But time? Once it's gone forever. The clock is not your friend. It's your most ruthless teacher. And every second you waste is a second closer to regret. Regret is heavier than failure. Failure stings for a while, but it teaches. Regret stays with you. It haunts you at night. It reminds you of the chances you didn't take, the courage you didn't show, the life you didn't live. People on their deathbeds don't regret failing. They regret never trying. They regret living for approval instead of purpose. They regret playing it safe. Don't let that be your story. Don't let regret become your legacy. Here's the turning point: you have to get angry at being stuck. Not angry at the world. Not angry at your circumstances. Angry at yourself for tolerating less than you deserve. Anger can be destructive if you point it outward, but it can be life-changing if you point it inward. Use it as fuel. Let it burn through your excuses. Let it push you to demand more from yourself. Comfort will not leave your life willingly. You have to throw it out. You have to rip it from your routines, your thoughts, your choices. If you don't, it will keep you hostage until the end of your days. But let's be clear, getting unstuck is not about one giant leap. It's about a series of small, relentless steps. People think transformation means quitting their job tomorrow, moving to a new city, or reinventing themselves overnight. That's not sustainable. Real change is built in the daily grind. It's built in choosing the workout instead of the couch, the book instead of the endless scroll, the uncomfortable conversation instead of silence, the discipline instead of the excuse. One small choice, multiplied over time, creates unstoppable momentum. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You just have to take one step, then another, then another. That's how mountains are conquered. Now let's talk about fear, because fear is the warden of your prison. Fear keeps you stuck by magnifying the cost of change and minimizing the cost of staying the same. Fear whispers, what if you fail? What if they laugh? What if you're not good enough? But here's what fear never tells you. What if you succeed? What if they admire you? What if you're more than good enough? Fear is a liar, creates monsters out of shadows. And the only way to beat fear is not to wait for it to disappear. It's to walk forward while it's still screaming in your ear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite fear. Every time you do, the prison walls crack a little more. You need to remember something crucial. The world does not reward potential. It rewards action. You could have all the talent, all the ideas, all the ambition in the world, but if you never execute, it means nothing. Potential without execution is wasted energy. And wasted energy is the definition of being stuck. You're not lacking potential. You're lacking commitment. You're lacking consistent, intentional execution. If you fixed that, everything would change. Look at the patterns of successful people. They're not superhuman. They don't have more hours in the day. They simply refuse to waste time on what doesn't move them forward. They protect their energy. They cut out toxic influences. They build routines that serve their goals. They act with urgency. And most importantly, they never stop when it gets hard. That's the blueprint. It's not glamorous. It's not complicated, but it works. And it's available to you right now if you choose it. So here's the challenge for you. Where in your life are you stuck on repeat? Be brutally honest. Is it your health, your career, your relationships, your confidence? Pick one area. Don't overwhelm yourself with everything at once. Choose the area that hurts the most, the area you can't ignore anymore. Then decide on one action you can take today to start breaking the cycle. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. And once you take that action, commit to showing up again tomorrow. That's how you escape the prison, one crack in the wall at a time. Your future self is waiting for you. Right now, that version of you is stronger, freer, more alive. They're begging you to stop wasting time. They're begging you to stop hiding. They're begging you to stop betraying yourself. Imagine standing face to face with that future self one day. Will they thank you for the choices you made today? Or will they resent you for keeping them locked away? That vision should drive you. Because the day will come when you meet the person you could have become, and you don't want to meet them too late. Remember this: you are not a victim of circumstance. You are a prisoner of your choices. And that's the best news you'll ever hear, because choices can change. Your story is not finished. Your past is not your prison. The pen is still in your hand. The only question is, will you keep writing the same chapter, or will you turn the page? There's a dangerous trap that keeps people stuck longer than anything else: waiting for permission. You've been conditioned since childhood to ask for approval. Teachers, bosses, even friends and family, your life has been shaped by their expectations. You were taught to raise your hand before speaking, to ask before acting, to play by someone else's rules. And without realizing it, you carried that mindset into adulthood. Now you're waiting for someone to validate your dreams, to give you the green light to pursue your goals. But here's the harsh truth: nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to give you permission. The only person who can free you is you. Think about it. How many opportunities have you let slip because you were waiting for the perfect moment, or waiting for someone else's approval? How many times have you buried your instincts because you feared what people would think? That hesitation is the chain that keeps you stuck. Every time you ask yourself, "What will they say?" you're handing them control over your destiny. You're living in their prison instead of building your own path. Freedom begins the moment you stop asking and start deciding. Here's what people misunderstand: success is not about being fearless, it's about being shameless. Not in the sense of being disrespectful, but in the sense of being unapologetic about your path. The people who win in life are not the ones who waited politely for permission. They're the ones who acted when everyone else hesitated. They're the ones who were willing to look foolish, to be judged, to fail publicly, because they knew the pain of regret would hurt more than the pain of ridicule. Let's be honest, fear of judgment is one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck. You care too much about opinions that won't matter 5 years from now. You let the laughter of strangers or the criticism of family members keep you from chasing the life you actually want. But ask yourself this: are they living the life you want? If not, why are you letting them dictate yours? The truth is, people will judge you no matter what. They'll judge you if you fail. They'll judge you if you succeed. So you might as well give them something to talk about. There's another trap: perfectionism. Sounds noble, you tell yourself you're just waiting to get everything right. But perfectionism is procrastination in disguise. You're not waiting for the right time, you're avoiding the discomfort of starting messy. Every master was once a beginner. Every success story started as a rough draft. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll never begin. Action beats perfection every single time. Imperfect steps forward will always get you further than perfect intentions that never leave your mind. Here's something you need to grasp deeply: clarity comes from action, not the other way around. People think they need to have the perfect plan before they start. They want all the answers up front. But the path only reveals itself as you walk it. You don't get clarity by thinking about it endlessly, you get clarity by moving, by trying, by failing, by adjusting. Every step forward gives you feedback. Every mistake gives you direction. The map is drawn through movement. If you're stuck waiting for clarity before you start, you'll stay stuck forever. Let's shift gears and talk about responsibility. One of the hardest but most liberating truths you'll ever accept is that your life is your fault. Not in the sense that everything bad that ever happened to you is your fault, but in the sense that your response to it is. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you react. Victimhood is another prison. As long as you believe your circumstances define you, you'll never change them. But the moment you take full responsibility, you unlock power. Responsibility is not a burden, it's freedom. Because if you created this stuck life with your choices, you can create a better life with new choices. Ask yourself, what story have you been telling yourself about why you're stuck? Maybe you say it's because of your upbringing, your lack of resources, your unlucky breaks. Maybe you've convinced yourself that success is for other people, not you. Those stories feel real because you've repeated them so long, but they're not facts. They're narratives. And the problem with narratives is they become self-fulfilling. If you tell yourself you're cursed, you'll find evidence everywhere. If you tell yourself you're capable, you'll find opportunities you never noticed. Change the story and you'll change the outcome. Another truth you need to accept: pain is unavoidable. Whether you stay stuck or break free, you're going to experience pain. If you stay stuck, you'll feel the pain of regret, frustration, and wasted potential. If you break free, you'll feel the pain of discipline, effort, and failure. But here's the difference: the pain of growth leads to pride, while the pain of stagnation leads to shame. You don't get to avoid pain. You only get to choose the type of pain you live with, and that choice determines everything. So let's talk about how to build momentum. Momentum is the antidote to being stuck. It's the force that turns small actions into unstoppable progress. But momentum doesn't appear out of thin air. It's built through consistency. Every day you keep your promises. Every day you move forward. You add another drop of fuel to the fire. First, it feels like nothing is changing. But one day the fire catches. Suddenly opportunities appear. Suddenly people take notice. Suddenly your life looks completely different. The world calls it luck, but you know it's momentum. And here's a secret: momentum doesn't need massive wins. It needs tiny victories repeated relentlessly. Celebrate every small step. Finished the workout? That's momentum. Wrote the page? Momentum. Resisted the distraction? Momentum. Stack enough of those wins and they compound. Before you know it, you're no longer stuck, you're unstoppable. The irony is, being stuck is also momentum in the wrong direction. Every time you delay, every time you give in to excuses, you're reinforcing the stuck cycle. The longer you stay in it, the harder it feels to break out. But remember this: no matter how long you've been stuck, one decision can shift the momentum. One action can start a new chain reaction. You don't have to see the entire staircase. Just take the first step. Here's the most empowering realization: you already have everything you need to change. You don't need permission. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need every resource. What you need is already inside you: courage, discipline, resilience. They may be buried under fear and doubt, but they're there. And the only way to uncover them is to use them. Courage grows when you act in the face of fear. Discipline grows when you keep promises to yourself. Resilience grows when you get back up after setbacks. The tools are already in your hands, you just have to start using them. So stop waiting. Stop negotiating with your dreams. Stop living as if you have another life in the bank. This is it. This is your shot. The longer you delay, the deeper the chains sink in. But the moment you decide, the moment you act, you'll realize the prison door was never locked. It was always open. You just had to walk through it,